In this video, I'll show you a quick way of entering data into your shared parameter that you created so that you select multiple instances of a similar type and associate the same task ID to these instances. So let's start off with our slab. This slab is concrete work, and as I talked about in the previous video regarding the hierarchy that I adopt, say I wanted to associate the task ID of 313 with all the slab elements in my my project. What I can do is I can right click on the slab, and then I can go select all instances in entire project. And what that does is that it would highlight all the slab objects that are placed within my project. So there's two of them, and to double check, if you click on filter, you'll see that there's two, count of two for the floors. So click on OK, and now go to your left panel, properties panel, and next to your task ID, enter the value 313 and press enter. Okay, so now if I were to click on any of these two slabs, so select this one, and you'll see that the task ID is 313, and for the upper level, if I clicked on it, it's 313 again. Now we repeat the same process, but now for columns. So if I right click on a column and I go select all instances in entire project, what's that going to do is it will highlight all the columns that I have, and in order to double check, I should have 8 columns in total. So if I click on filter, I'll see that the count is 8, which is correct. And so for that, I'll associate a task ID of 311 based on the hierarchy that we talked about in the previous video. So click on enter, and now there's a task ID that is associated with all my column elements, 311. As I said, this process of associating a task ID with each of your objects in your project is just to ensure that it's easier for you when it comes to dealing with Navisworks later on. So when it comes to associating the timeline with the individual objects, doing it this way will make our lives way easier. As a last demonstration in this video, I'll click on my scaffolding, and then if I go again select all instances in entire project, and for that you see that it has highlighted all the scaffolding that I placed around the perimeter of the building. For that, I will associate a task ID of okay, so we've got to note that we can't actually do that for scaffolding, and the reason for that is because my upper level scaffolding will have a different task ID to the one at the bottom, so based on the hierarchy that I adopted. So if in the case that you want to associate the same task ID for both the upper level scaffolding and the lower level one, what I just did was absolutely 100% correct. So you right click and you go select all instances in entire project. But say I just wanted to select the ones on the ground floor. So if I just wanted to select the ones on the ground floor, I'd have to go to my floor plan, ground floor, select one of these, right click, select all instances, visible in view. This time it's visible in view, and the reason for that is because whatever is visible over here is the stuff that is located on the ground floor. So these objects that are visible, I can double check. If I press on filter, there's 12 objects that are on my ground floor, 12 scaffolding objects on my ground floor, and if we were to count these, this would be correct. So the count is actually 12. And then I can go here, and for the ground floor level, I can associate the task ID of 710. And then if I go to level 1, I can again right click on one of the scaffolding objects, go to select all instances, visible in view, make sure the count is 12. So this 24. This basically means that it also selected the ones on the lower level, and I don't want that. So go to let's go to actually level 2. I can't see anything. So let's play around with the, see if I go right click, select all visible in view, go to filter, there's still 24, and it's got to do with the fact that my view region, so my view range, sorry, is set to a very low level. So if I go minus 100, maybe minus 100, click OK, and try it out now. So go to filter, and it's still 24. So for some reason it's selecting all these objects, and I think it's got to do with the fact that these are actually set at a really high level. So the height of these, let's actually try, so these are the ones that are located on level 1. Let's change the view range, so edit 0. So that's level 1. Let me right click. Alright, so now I've got it set up correctly. As I said, the reason for that was because our ground floor scaffolding was set to a really high level, that it it was extruding to level 1. So in order to overcome that, what I did was I changed my view range, so back to normal, and I changed these two values back to 0. So doing that solved the issue. Now if we right click, select all instances visible in view, and if you click on filter, it's just 12 that is selected, not 24. Okay, so with these ones selected, I want to associate a task ID of 720. Click on enter, and if I go back to my 3D view, if I select on my scaffolding, you'll notice now that these are associated with this task ID that I just entered. So you got to do that for all the objects that you have. Keep on repeating these steps until you associate a task ID with each and every object that you're going to export into Navisworks.